I just saw a comment before we got started. I'm glad I got to see it. Good Lord, this is a bad football team. Well, unfortunately, that is the case here as another one for A&M that feels very similar. 10 years ago, A&M entered the SEC. They came here to Jordan-Hare Stadium, and they scored 62 points on Auburn. Yes, that was with Johnny and company. That was not the case today. A&M with their sixth straight loss, first time they've done that in 50 years. They fall 13-10 to Auburn. This is the TexAgs post-game wrap brought to you by Higginbotham Insurance. You probably only think about insurance when you need it, but at Higginbotham, they think about your risk for you because they want you covered all year long. They start by listening and end with a custom solution that fits your needs and your budget. They do it all: car, home, health, business, employee, and insurance. Higginbotham's got you covered. Higginbotham is a place that leads with value so that your value leads. Call Tyler Smith, 979-871-3162, or visit higginbotham.com. All right, so you saw the bad news when the show started or when the game started. I tweeted it out. Devon Achane was in a boot, so he was out along with Musa Muhammad, and we don't really have any answers why. Jimbo Fisher was asked about it. He says it's internal. That's the most we're going to get from him. So that meant, at least for the running back position, Le'Veon Moss starting for an injured Devon Achane. The Ags can't get anything going for their first couple of drives, really almost all game long except their final drive. So they have to they benefit actually from running into the kicker. Didn't matter, though. Auburn playing with a lot of emotion. They score on their second drive. A Tank Bigsby 29-yard run sets up a touchdown on a completely uncovered wheel route, 7-0 Auburn. In the first quarter, Auburn with 95 yards rushing, 66 of those from Tank. On the next drive, Wigman with almost a pick, but it was reviewed, disallowed, so they punt again. More undisciplined playing from the Aggies. Looks like they forced a 3-and-out from the 9, but Shamar Turner with an unsportsmanlike penalty. Luckily, Auburn does not score, but they did move the ball. Auburn with 173 yards rushing at the half. A&M with 130 of offense at the half. Absolutely nothing was going. No points, no nothing. Auburn leading 7-0. In the second half, a pass interference helps Auburn try a 54-yard field goal. They would miss. Ags get the ball with pretty good field position on the 37, but a 3-and-out. A&M with -2 yards in the third quarter. Let me repeat that. -2 yards in the third quarter. As you guys know, A&M was able to score a touchdown in the fourth quarter, but they basically went all of last year without scoring an offensive touchdown against Auburn, and 3 quarters this year without doing it. After a terrible 3-and-out, Auburn gets the short field, and they hit the field goal 10-0. Luckily, Edge Cooper is able to get a pick in the fourth quarter. The Ags with 2 interceptions in this one sets up a 48-yard field goal. They hit it 10-3. Now, after Auburn picks up a couple of first downs, they fumble. Should be A&M's ball, but Auburn player goes out of bounds, touches the ball. It's reviewed. Auburn keeps the ball. I don't understand what happened there. And it looks like they forced another fumble. It's not reviewed. Jimbo does not call a timeout. He said he talked to the officials about it, and it was already checked. Aggies do get the ball, though. Wiggs with a couple of first downs, one to Devin Price, 17 yards. But then a strip sack on Wiggs, and it's Auburn ball. They'd hit a field goal, make it 13-3. The Aggie offense does go up tempo. Wiggs is able to get them down the field. A Jalen Preston touchdown, 13-10. They couldn't get the onside kick, and that's how this game ends. Here are some things that we got to talk about. Auburn rushes for 270 yards. A&M musters 215 yards of offense to a pretty bad defense that had given up at least 39 points in their previous 4 games. Not a good one at all. One of those games that we're going to make this a quick one because you guys know how it was. Let's bring in Chris Taylor to the program. Brandon Leone is somewhere in Auburn, but he's not going to be able to join us, so it's just going to be me and CT. CT, your tweets always hit the exact spot, man. You were tweeting during the game. What was the offensive game plan today?
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. There was really nothing that was definitive. We didn't, one thing that I think really glaring for me is we got away from even trying to run the football, and we got back to the same old, dropping back, putting Connor on a spot, giving that front 4 or that added defender, giving them a landing place to get to him. And they finally got home in the fourth quarter, and that was really the difference in them being able to kick that field goal late in the game. It's just, I don't know. My frustration is for all of these guys. It's for the fan base. It's for you guys that cover A&M sports. It's frustrating, and my heart bleeds for these guys because I know that they go out and they play hard, but there's just a disconnect somewhere within that program. And then, as a fan, sitting on this side of the fence, looking at the way the direction that the program is going and the product that we're putting on the field, we've digressed since the first game. This is not the number 6 team that we were also excited to see and watch this year. We're a shell of ourselves, and I don't know where we go from here as a program. I don't know what the answer is for this football team.
So this is going to sound, I'm not trying to be optimistic at all, but the defense did play better in the second half, but still ridiculous to give up the amount of rushing yards they've been doing this part of the season. And CT, I think both offense and defense, there's no more excuses about young players, execution, yada, yada, yada. They're just not good.
No, we're 10 weeks into the season. I think the glaring thing for me at the start of the game was Auburn had so much emotion. I mean, after all of the turmoil and stuff that they had this week, firing their head coach, not knowing the direction of the program, they came out and they played with a lot more passion and fire than our football team. We came out like we thought we were the better football team, and we slept walked through most of the first half, and it showed. Auburn hit us in the mouth, and we were able to weather the storm, but we're 10 games in. These are not young guys. These are not freshmen. They're not pups. I mean, we're getting ready to start, to end this season and getting ready to move into next season. So the excuse of youth has to go out the window. Youth doesn't commit dumb 15-yard penalties. Youth doesn't miss blocks, doesn't miss assignments, doesn't do those things. Not this late in the season. I mean, if we're going to continue to say it's youth on Saturdays, what are we doing during the week to correct a lot of these mistakes and a lot of these things that are going on? So, this is a very undisciplined, bad football team. It's not a good football team, and it's hard to watch. And it's frustrating sitting on this side as a fan.
I would say some of the things that really frustrate me is that top to bottom there's issues, right? But how about the timeouts in this game? Or how about not getting plays in on time? Those kind of things, like the fact that they have to call timeouts as often as they do, especially as we saw in the first half. The fact that Jimbo said they were trying to go up tempo, that they were going up tempo. It didn't feel like they were going up tempo. That's not up tempo to me.
No. I mean, I mean, every time we snap the ball, it feels like it's under 5 seconds to go before we snap it, and we're trying to. If that's up tempo, then man, we're not doing a very good job at any of that stuff. So it's just hard to watch, and so it's just the same things that we talk about week in and week out. The same mistakes, the penalties. We start the game with a false start penalty. We have a procedural penalty when we're close to a first down. That fourth quarter or that third quarter no, it was fourth quarter. That sequence where we get the bad spot. Then the next play, the fumble. The guy goes. He has a body part out of bounds, so Auburn keeps the football. They fumble the next play. We don't challenge it. We don't call a timeout. We don't do anything. And it's the game management piece that it feels like we're so disconnected with. And I think this is the reason that so many fans and that we're screaming there has to be somebody that comes in that can take over the offensive side and the play calling of this game, because the game management, it's a hard enough game anyways when you're trying to make sure that you're getting people in the right spot and you're putting people in the right positions. But to just miss things, like the fumble, it was a clear fumble. And for us not to take advantage of that and not to manage those things, and we never have any timeouts, it's a game management issue. And that starts at the top. Jimbo has to, something has to change there. He has to be better. I don't want to be one of those that piles on and says Jimbo has to go, because that's not going to happen. But there has to be some things that happen. I don't know what those answers are. It's just, man, I'm exasperated by this one. I'm at a loss for words.
CT, how about defensively? One of the things that I found, and I don't know why, because I think there's talent on that defense, but their containment on the edge. They were so slow. It seemed like any time Auburn wanted to run around the edge, there was no containment, and then they were playing catch up the entire time.
Yeah, and again, we have young guys. Yes, we do. But I consider those guys to be sophomores now, and those things of gap integrity and eye discipline, all those things you hear on the defensive side of the ball, we're not doing it. I mean, it's like the guy next to you, you're not trusting them to do their job, and we're getting out leveraged on the outside, and we're giving up huge runs. I think because we're giving up such gaping holes in the middle in the first half. Now you overcompensate, you crash down, and now you're bouncing runs out and you're making big plays. It's I think it comes down to guys have to trust that the man next to them is going to do their job. They're going to do their assignment. Don't try to do too much. Just do your dang job and be able to contain those runs. But I thought the second half, the defense looked a lot better. 27, he changes your defense. I think that, him being on the field tonight, his presence, he's just physical and he brings a toughness to that defense. And I think the second half they played a lot better, but it's still the same old story. Big run plays, can't stop the run. If and we were fortunate. Auburn's quarterback is not very good right now. And we knew he couldn't throw. I mean, at one point, I think I tweeted he was 6 for 13. He didn't throw for 100 yards. Um, we knew they were going to run it, and we still couldn't stop it. So back to the drawing board. We'll see, next week when who do we have? I don't even know who we have next week. Is it UMass? We'll see if we fare better against those guys.
So I'm going to leave it with this because we've harped so much on the offense all season long. But I mentioned in our open that they have given up, Auburn had given up 39 points minimum in the last 4 games. Okay. And I'm also going to remind everybody this offense here, and I think we need to talk about Connor Wegman here in a second, but Auburn came into this game 93rd nationally on total defense, 114th against the run. It wasn't until the very end of the game that you saw them actually moving the ball. And it seemed like that's when Connor's at his best, when he can just move and freestyle a little bit. That defense is so bad, and they look like the '85 Bears.
114th in the country against the run. And I think going into the fourth quarter between Le'Veon and who's our other back? But
Amari
between our
Daniels.
two backs, Amari Daniels, between those two guys, we ran it 14 times between those two guys. Now Connor had some runs. I think he had 8 carries, but a lot of that was him getting outside of the pocket and things like that. We have a way of making defenses look really, really good, and I think that comes back to scheme. Again, we're dropping straight back, putting Connor on a spot, and we're not moving him. Connor dropping straight back 31 times is not his strength. Get him out on some boots, some play actions. Get him in the screen game, quarterback draws, do something to create advantages and create that extra person that Auburn would have had to account for. And we didn't do those things. Again, we're back to vanilla play calling. You're probably going to hear the plays were there. We just didn't execute them. It's the same tired song and dance. And I get tired of watching it on Saturdays.
CT, 6 straight losses.
Mhm.
Hasn't happened in 50 years. This team was the number 6 team in the country before the season started. There needs to be a total evaluation of everything that this program does. Everything. And yes, it does start with the offense, but it goes beyond just the offense.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be an evaluation of everybody involved. I mean, that starts with Jimbo at the top, and I got news. It's chances are we're going to lose some guys to the portal. That's just the nature of the beast right now, and we have 2 more opportunities to go out and to showcase and see if we can get better. I think the frustrating part for all of this is you have not seen any progression. You've not seen any improvement in this team. And it feels like the team has digressed ever since that Appalachian State game. We've looked worse and worse and worse, and it has not gotten better. Last week I said I thought we played our best half of football in the first half against Florida, and then we followed it up and we laid a turd. So I think that continued low energy when we start the game on the road, especially in the SEC. You cannot come out flat and not not come out and deliver the first punch. And for us to come out flat on the road in an environment like Jordan-Hare Stadium, um, that's a lack of preparation. That's a lack of emotion. It's just a lack of being ready to play. And we see that too often. We saw it in South Carolina. We saw it again tonight. And those games both resulted in losses.
CT, we appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah. Y'all be careful. Safe travels, Dave.
Thank you very much. All right. I appreciate everybody who's been watching today. It's been a hard one. And you are the real G's out there, right? You guys are the real ones that have not only watched that entire football game. I have to. It's my job. If I could have changed the channel, I would have, but I couldn't. You guys stayed through it, and you're watching the post-game wrap, so thank you very much for that. A&M loses to Auburn 13-10. They've lost 6 in a row. I'm sorry. I have to say it again, but they have. And that's going to do it for the post-game wrap. Thank you to Higginbotham Insurance. Billy and I will be doing a Luchador podcast tomorrow. It's cold. I got to get some napkins. I got to get out of here. I'm going to try to get more offense here, offensively getting off the field. All right, we'll talk to everybody next time.